All right, welcome back to One Bills Live. Chris Brown, Steve Tasker with you here on a Tuesday, and pleased to be joined now by Hall of Fame quarterback and NFL Network analyst Kurt Warner. Kurt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the time here. You probably know why we've got you on. We enjoyed your breakdown of the Bills' offense here in the wake of their performance against the Dolphins. It was good enough to get the victory. But like it is almost any week, they're probably looking to clean some things up on that side of the ball going into this playoff matchup with the Steelers. Why don't you just kind of lay out for us some of what you put out there as you were dissecting Buffalo's offense here and where they might be a little bit better this week or want to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is we all know how good Josh Allen is and all the things that he's capable of doing. I continue to make the contention that he's best when he plays on schedule and in the pocket. I've seen it all year long, is that when he's comfortable inside the pocket and he's confident in what he's seeing, he's as good as anybody in the National Football League. And it shows up over and over and over again. You know, I went back before the game this past weekend against Miami and watched his first game against Miami. And I think there was only like 5 plays in which he moved out of the pocket in that game, and a couple of them were just completely by necessity. He looked down the field and he was trying to make that play, and then he went and created. And that, to me, I think is where this team really needs to continue to focus. Is, you know, when Josh does that, he is so good, and he's done it really, really well this year. But then there's times when I feel like he plays too fast. There's certain situational, football moments in a game where it's almost as if I'm going to give a cursory glance to the play, and then I'm going to go be Josh Allen. And we all know that could be special, and it can be a huge positive for the team. But it can also lead to some negative plays, or it can lead to some missed opportunities that are easier and right in front of them. And I think that's why you see at times, you know, even though they've gone on a run and won a lot of games, they're not always clean, and they're not always putting up, you know, the big points that we saw maybe early in the year and we've seen in the past, because it's kind of choppy all over the place. And so I think it starts with Josh just settling in and being confident in knowing that he can be great without having to run around and run through people and over people and make the crazy throws. He can be great just playing inside the pocket because he has that ability and has shown that ability. And so I think that's where it starts. And then, you know, the other issue that I was pointing out was just, you know, being able to, you know, to handle pressure better than, you know, they did the other day. And I think better than they've done at times this year. And that, you know, it's both sometimes with Josh, you know, understanding, okay, they bring pressure. I don't have to beat it by making a play. I can beat it by getting the ball out of my hands. And also with Joe Brady giving Josh some quick answers on every single play or some adjustments on every play. So when somebody brings that pressure, it's not run around and have to throw the ball up with guys hanging all over me. It's, hey, get it out to one of my playmakers, because we've got really good playmakers out there. Get it into their hands and let them do something for the quarterback.
So give us an idea too, because as you know, the league revolves around and the offense revolves around the quarterback. Give us an idea of how when a quarterback like Josh leaves the pocket too early or doesn't want to take the easy throw right now. He wants to try and hold it and make a bigger play down the field. Give us an idea of the best way for a coaching staff to handle the criticism of that for the quarterback. You know, you got to have a conversation about it, right? You're watching the film. It happens. You say, hey, why didn't you take, why this, why that? Give us an insight. I mean, you were in those rooms, and I'm sure
Right.
you took your share of, talking tos about why you're not doing the right thing or what, Give us some insight as to how those conversations go.
Well, I mean, I think the first part of the conversation and what you always want from your quarterback when you're a coach is answer the why for me. Okay, so tell me why you took off so quickly. Tell me why, you didn't give this a chance because it was the primary part of the play. And I think that's where it starts, is understanding the why, because you always want your quarterback to be able to have a reason, a method to the madness on why they're doing stuff. And, and I completely understand in critical situations, Josh has been really good. And then when you get down into the red zone, we often say that, a lot of times it's players over plays, that it's hard to always design the perfect play down in the red zone when windows get tighter and teams do some different things. But you still have to trust what's in front of you, because I will always make the argument, and again, Josh, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, those special players can maybe live in that, ad lib, off schedule world more than other guys can. But I also believe that what you have to do to win against the best teams in the league is you have to make the layups. You have to make the plays that are in front of you. And so when I, did the breakdown the other day, what happened was there was a quick play to the flat, from the 5-yard line on their first drive. That is a walk-in touchdown. Now, he doesn't take it, and he gets through things a little bit faster and misses. But then ultimately what happens on that drive is it leads to a play where Miami brings pressure. They don't have a quick answer, and it becomes one of the interceptions in the end zone. And so that's kind of how I look at it, is that, it's not always sexy to take the quick flat, but that's working for you. Take the layup and then make the special plays when you have to. The other interception was on a 4th down, and they had a little rub play designed, and they had their initial guy open. Josh just got off of it a little bit quick, getting impatient, going, I don't know if it's going to be open. Let me go create and do what I do. And it led to the other interception, that long interception where it would have been an easy first down within the structure of the play. And so that becomes the conversation, and the balance is, I need you to allow the play to work for you. I need you to, to get back in and make these layups, these easy throws that are in front of you. You make those, and then you give us 3 or 4 of those special plays a game, and we're going to win most of our games. If we have to live with any quarterback having to make 10, 12, 13 of those special plays, it's a hard place to live in when there's easy opportunities out in front of you. And so that really is where the conversation starts, is, Josh, tell me why. Tell me why, this initial read, what did you miss here? Or why are you playing so fast here? Was there a look that you got from the defense? Was there an adjustment that you saw that maybe I'm not seeing that made you go there, as opposed to just, I don't know. I just wanted to make a play and I got going too fast. And it's trying to find that balance, because, again, I could take if I was the coach, I would go back and find a video of Josh all year long playing on schedule, seeing it and getting the ball out of his hands. And like I said, go back to the first Miami game. I thought he was tremendous in that game. And it was all about ball out of his hands over and over and over again. And that, to me, is when the Bills, and I think most quarterbacks, are at their best, because there's going to be easy things in front of you in most games. And when you play that way, it just makes life so much easier for you guys as an offense.
And the irony of that for me, Kurt, is 2 of the plays you referenced in your breakdown, when he doesn't go to Gilliam on the quick out at the 5-yard line to go to the touchdown, and he doesn't use the easy answer on the rub play. They must have had those conversations in game, because they went right back to those same play calls, and he does hit Dawson Knox at the goal line on the short out play for a touchdown late in the game, and he hit Shakir up the sidelines on a rub play that looked exactly like the one that you broke down that he didn't hit earlier in the game. So at least that shows a willingness on Josh's part to listen to the coaching. And then he says, look, I'm going to come back to this later in the game. Make sure you hit it this next time. And he did on both accounts. So how encouraging is that going forward if you're Joe Brady?
Well, I think the bottom line is, as I was saying, I know he can do it. I know he can see it. I know he can play from inside the pocket and be as good as anybody. And that really just becomes the balance. And Steve, you were talking earlier. I never had that special in me. I was always the guy that had to play in the pocket and had to play on schedule. So I don't really know how tough that is to figure out that balance. How long do I stay in the pocket on 4th and 1 and stay on schedule on 4th and 1 when I know I could go make a play that's going to get us the first down? But again, if you go back and look at, if you broke down all the plays of, these really good quarterbacks, going off schedule and trying to make plays, there's no doubt that the percentage is way lower than when they play on schedule. Now, we see the really special ones, and it's awesome, and it's things nobody else could do. But when you break it down in terms of numbers, the percentage of success goes way, way down. I did a breakdown on Lamar Jackson a couple weeks ago against San Francisco, and they won that game big against San Francisco. But most of those plays were off schedule. A lot of the plays in that game were off schedule, and they weren't really successful off schedule other than a few times. They came back and played Miami the next week and put up 56 points, and almost every play was on schedule. And how much easier that game was and what it looked like when you read things out and got the ball out of your hand in a timely fashion. And so I still think that wins more than expecting your quarterback to be special, numerous times throughout a game. I still think playing on schedule, seeing what's in front of you, getting the ball out of your hands is always going to be a bigger benefit. And as I said, it's to me, if I watch a quarterback and I go, oh, he can't do that, he's going to have to live in the special, and we're going to have to hope that that's good enough for us to win. That's not the case with the guys I'm talking about, Josh and Patrick and Lamar. Those guys can do it. And so I want to see them get comfortable doing that and living in that world, and then creating, only when they have to, which is a relative term because, again, I don't play in that world. When is that, and what does that look like? But I like to at least see them kind of look at 1 and 2 and, look at their initial read based on the coverage and then create, as opposed to missing that first or second read that's right out there in front of them.
Kurt, last one from me. We've got this first weekend of the playoffs coming up, and there's a lot of homecomings, I guess, if you finger quotes homecoming. You got Deshaun Watson going back to Houston. You've got Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins going back to Kansas City. Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Cowboys, welcoming in the Green Bay Packers, a team he won this World Championship with. Matt Stafford going to Detroit with the L.A. Rams. Some pretty cool stuff, storylines like that. What grabs you about these games? Anything, what's the overriding theme for you? What are you looking forward to?
I think for me, I'm always looking at the quarterback play and the quarterback matchups. And I think we've got some really good ones this weekend that are going to be fun. You mentioned, Stafford going back to Detroit, and Jared Goff on the other side. How interesting that is, coming off of the trade, first and foremost, where the Rams, kind of got what they were looking for, winning a world championship. The Lions have gotten what they're looking for, winning their division for the first time in 30 years. But I think it also comes down to these moments, right? Show us that you can be that guy in the moment against that other really special player that we got rid of. And so I think this is a huge moment for the Lions and Jared Goff. And obviously it would be a great statement for Matthew Stafford, because I know he still has love for Detroit, to go back there and get a win and kind of, show them, I guess what they're missing to some degree. That's going to be great. I love the Houston matchup against Cleveland. The last time Joe Flacco was unbelievable against Houston, but C.J. Stroud didn't play. He's been one of those special players this year as a rookie that has been so much fun to watch. So I'm excited about that. Tua and Patrick Mahomes, even though, there's some issues on both sides, but that to me is what I'm always looking at. When you get to this point, so many of these games are dependent on the quarterback position. And it's about those quarterbacks that have been really good during the regular season. Can you up your game in the playoffs, right? We've had a lot of really good quarterbacks play great regular seasons, but never quite elevate themselves at playoff time. And now we get a chance to see that. C.J. Stroud, can he do it? Jordan Love, can he do it? Jared Goff, can he do it in this kind of moment and in the playoffs, where he hasn't been with Detroit? So those are the cool storylines to me that we're going to watch, because we know that it's going to come down to, these quarterbacks making plays to advance their teams.
Kurt, thanks very much for the time. We appreciate it, and enjoy the playoffs. We'll catch up with you down the line.
Thanks, Kurt.
You got it. You guys too.